What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. As you saw in the last video, we got the whole Samurai torn down and ready to start assembling suspension parts. So I'll just show you what we got so far. Kind of did some fitting up yesterday just to see how things would work. So I'll just show you what we got. Okay, so we got the rear springs up front, the Old Man Emu springs. I had to pull the bushings out of those springs that I had, which are just factory Samurai rear springs. And surprising enough, the bushings fit into these springs, which is awesome because then I have to order new bushings. So this is just like kind of like mocked up. I'm just trying to figure out how high it's gonna sit with these springs because I never used Old Man Emu springs. So my plan was just to get the springs on, just get some regular shackles I had laying around, bolted on. I'm still waiting for the tires, but once we get the tires, just put the tires on the wheels and get it sitting on its own weight and just see how it sits. The back, we're gonna do lifted YJ springs for the back. I think my friend said he had, I think they're 2-inch springs or 2.5-inch rear springs. So we're gonna do them on the back. Do the same thing like the front, just get them thrown on and mocked up just to see how it sits. And then since I'm not going to be buying wheels, I wanted to get like a little more backspace on the wheels, so we're just going to use these factory wheels. We're just going to flip them and run them inside out, which, I mean, it's definitely a noticeable difference to get the tires to stick out further. So the plan is to get these to work. I'm going to pull the valve stems out, weld these holes shut, and then move the valve stems on the opposite side. And then also you're thinking, well, the lug nuts need like a centering part. Well, the wheels are already countersunk on the back side too, so it's kind of like a no-brainer. So these will work probably pretty good. Hopefully we don't have to run wheel spacers. So yeah, that's the plan so far. So I'm gonna have my helper clean these up, wire wheel inside of them, and we're gonna repaint them. So that's pretty much as far as we got so far. So hopefully we can get the rear springs and the tires today, so we can kind of get this thing sitting on its own weight just to see how it sits. And then if we have to do any modifying, we can do some modifying. So like I know people run like missing links up front for the rear springs. My plan is not to run missing links. I'm just going to try to run a single shackle, which I have a feeling the shackle is going to be too much of an angle, so we're probably going to have to move the front frame mounting point forward so we get the proper shackle angle, which my plan is to take the measurements from the rear and then measure from the frame bracket to the front and use them measurements, so then we can, yeah, just pretty much just copy the rear to the front measurements, and then that should be perfect. So yeah, like I said, move this bracket forward so then we get the proper shackle angle. So anyways, we're gonna get these wheels cleaned up and we're gonna get them painted, get ready for the tires. So hopefully we can get the tires today and get them mounted on and figure all this stuff out. And yeah, the rear axle, pulled the rear axle out, got to cut the lower shock mount brackets off because they welded them on the lower spring perch. So we got to get them off yet. And then this axle is going to have to come apart either way because it doesn't have a blocker in it. It's just open third member. So I still need to order a spool for it. I mean, I could weld it, but I'm just going to order a spool. I think they're only like 150 bucks or something like that. So anyways, we're gonna get back to work. so what I'm doing to these wheels are, like I said, we're going to be flipping them, so we got to move the valve stem. So you pretty much just cut the valve stem out. I mean, you could probably do a different way, but they're old and they're crap, so we're not going to use them anymore. Okay, and then I usually get the grinder, clean up the paint around the front of it and the back side of it. Okay, then I get a file and then just go and clean up the edges. And then we weld that thing together. So let me get... Then grind the front down so it looks like it was never there. Okay, so that's done. Now we gotta drill the new hole for the valve stem. So on the pack of valve stems I got, let me go over here. Okay, then I got these pack of valve stems. It says 0.453 rim hole. So I got these. So I looked that up on the internet and it's saying it's a 29/64 drill bit, which I think it said. Deburring. So that's pretty much how I did them. Not that complicated. So yeah, so I'm gonna give this wheel to the little helper, aka Caleb, and we're gonna try to get them primed up today. So let's get back to work. Okay, so it's the next day. We got the wheels all painted up. Well, technically we got wire wheeled and then painted up. And we actually got the tires mounted on them today. So let's show you what we got. So here we go. We ended up painting them white to keep like the factory color on the wheel. And we went with 33 1050 15 BFG all-terrain. Reason I went for these tires is I got them for a pretty good deal. They have a little dry rut, but they're not that bad. And they have like really good tread on them. Yeah, so we're gonna get these things thrown on the front and just see how it sits with clearance from like the axle to like the firewall. So anyways, we're gonna get these tires thrown on the front and see what it looks like. So let's get to work. Okay, so we got the front tires on, like I said, just to see what kind of clearances we're working with. And yeah, just remember, I don't have the front shackles on. I pulled them off last night because I was gonna put the center pieces in and then weld the center pieces in and then put them on just to see how everything would work. But I was too busy putting orders together last night. So I'm just gonna show you what it looks like. So let's check it out. So there she is. Like, dude, that tire looks so big in there. It's funny. So yeah, like when you turn, it definitely hits back here pretty good, which I had a feeling that was gonna happen. But I mean, it fits in there pretty good. So yeah, like I said, like when I put the shackles on the front too, it's gonna probably sit a lot higher. So I guess that's what my next step is. I'm gonna put them shackles together and bolt them on and then set it on its own weight and see what it sits like. But like, it's gonna have a lot of axle clearance from the ground to the differential. And also, I do want to try to figure out something with the U-bolt plates so they don't hang down so low. So I got to figure that out too. So yeah, so I'm gonna get these shackles welded up and I'll get them back on, and I'll show you what we came up with. So let's get back to work. Okay, so we got the Samurai sitting on all fours. It didn't turn out how I wanted it to turn out, but I'll just show you what we got. Okay, so as you can see, the back sits a lot higher than the front. The back springs, my buddy had them. They were lift springs. I think they're 2.5-inch lift springs. So technically we need stock rear springs, which I have one rear spring, and that's all I have. The other one I sold to a guy because he bent one of his springs and needed one. The front's sitting pretty good. I'm happy with how high the front sits, but we are gonna have to mess with the front because there's not a lot of room between here and here, and I really don't want to cut out into there. I'm trying to leave the firewall like stock. Obviously, yeah, it has holes in it, it's rusted, and we have to fix it anyways, but I would like to add a little bit of wheelbase to it. Is to pull the front axle back out, drill another hole in the spring perch to move the axle forward 1 inch, and then the front, I think I'm gonna get some 2x4 box tubing and put box tube from here to there to tie these frame rails together, and then come in here, cut this bar out, probably cut this all out. We're gonna move this mount forward. I forget the exact measurement. I measured the back and it's like 2 inches difference, so we'll probably move this 2 inches forward, and then we're gonna have to pull the stock steering box out, and we're gonna put the side kick power steering box in it and move that forward probably 2 inches. So we might have to cut into this a little bit, which I didn't really want to, but it's probably gonna have to get cut out a little bit. And then, yeah, once we get all that done, and then the front end should be pretty much done. We've been doing some work on the Samurai. As you saw from the last clip, we first tried the lift springs in the back, and it sat like 2.5 inches too high, which makes sense because they were 2.5-inch lift springs. So I called my buddy up and he had a set of stock springs. So we threw them in, and I'll just show you what we got. So we threw the stock springs in, and the rear sat another, I think it sat probably 1 inch higher still. So I went and made new frame brackets, which, let me find, okay, here they are. So here's like the regular ones I sell, which these are the older style ones. The other ones have an extra hole right here, so then you can move the axle rearward. So I kind of changed these a little bit different just so then we'd get the right height. I ended up moving this hole 1 inch rearward, and I moved it up, I think, like 1/2 inch. So I moved that up 1/2 inch. So we moved this up a little bit, and we moved it back, and it actually sits perfect now. So it sits exactly the way I wanted it to. So she sits pretty good. So yeah, so that's pretty much as far as we got done today. So today's Friday, so I probably won't be working on it all this weekend. I don't know if I'll call this end of the video because I know I have a bunch of footage. So if this is the end of the video, if you like my videos, please hit the like button. And if you want to see more content on the Samurai build, please subscribe. And also, I will let you know how much I have into it so far. So anyways, thanks for watching.